Hi there and welcome to this video which goes over the solutions to the preparation sheet that was set for you. Okay, it's maths based. Okay, so let's get straight to section 1, which is expanding brackets. Okay, and I know that many of you are really confident at doing this already, so I put this in just to remind you of some of the pitfalls of expanding brackets. So let's have a look at this first one. Being asked to expand and simplify. So I can see two separate sets of brackets, both with a numerical value in front. So just a quick reminder to multiply every term in the first bracket through by 4, which gives me 12x plus 36y, take away 20. Now this is the key bit here. It's not just multiplying through the second bracket by 6, because it's got a minus with a 6, so we need to multiply through by minus 6. And when you multiply a value by a negative, it changes the sign of the value you're multiplying as well. Okay, so this one here, minus 6 times 2x gives me minus 12x. Minus x multiplied by 3y is minus 18y. And careful on this last one now, minus 6 times negative 4. Look, all right, the two minuses change to become a positive when you multiply, so positive 24. Okay, so just be careful there. Now we've got to simplify it. Okay, and if we have a look at the 12x, take away 12x, look, you take 12x away from 12x, make 0. Okay, so there'll be no x's in our answer. All right, if we have a look at the y terms, okay, got positive 36y, take away 18y. So 36y take away 18y gives me 18y. Okay, so got 18y. And finally, if I have a look at the integer value terms, okay, I've got minus 20 add 24. So minus 20 add 24 gives me positive 4. Okay, so my final solution is going to be 18y plus 4. Okay, on this expanding brackets, look, I just changed it about a bit. So if I square a bracket, it means I want to multiply the bracket by itself. So in this case, 2x plus 3 squared is the same as multiplying out 2x plus 3 times another 2x plus 3. All right, so that's another way of writing the question. And we've got a single bracket on the second one. So for this double bracket, remember you can either use the box method, okay, or if you don't want to use the box method, use the FOIL method. And there's 4 letters to FOIL, which means you need to have 4 terms when you expand this bracket. So the F stands for first. So multiply the first term in each bracket together. So 2x times 2x gives 4x squared. The O stands for the outside term in each bracket. Look, so I'm going to multiply 2x by 3. So that's going to be 6x. Then I multiply the inside terms. So that's these two here. So 3 times 2x is also 6x. And then the L is for the last terms. Okay, so 3 times 3, which is 9. And there's my 4 terms from my FOIL. Now I'm going to expand this second bracket. So I'm just going to multiply through by minus x. So x times x is x squared, so minus x squared. And minus x times 5 is minus 5x. Okay, so I've expanded all my brackets through now, and now I've just got to simplify it. So like on the first question, okay, look for your like terms. So I've got 4x squared, take away an x squared. Okay, so that gives me 3x squared. Now collect together now all your terms with just x. So we've got 6x plus another 6x, that gives me 12x. Take away this 5x, that leaves me with 7x. So that will be plus 7x. And then finally, the only term that we haven't simplified is this plus 9. There's no other numbers on their own to combine with it, so just plus 9. So final answer, 3x squared plus 7x plus 9. Okay, direct proportion then. If we're told that y is directly proportional to x squared, we write that down like this. We use the proportion sign. Y is proportional to x squared. But what that actually means to us is that y is equal to something times x squared. That's how they're linked. Okay, so when we're asked to find an expression for y in terms of x, we need to find that value of k in order to finish off the expression. So what we need to do here is use the information we're being provided with and substitute that into the y equals kx squared. So we are being given the information that y is equal to 36 and x is equal to 3. So that's 3 squared. I'm substituting that in for the x. Now 3 squared is 9. So it gives me, with solving this, 9k is equal to 36. But if I divide 36 by 9, I get my k, and k is equal to 4. Therefore, y is equal to 4x squared. And that's my expression for y in terms of x. Okay? So I'm just going to write that down, y equals 4x squared, because it's linked to this table here. And we're going to find the missing values in the table. So to find the value of y, we substitute the value of x in. So these two come as a pair, look, okay? So when x equals 5, we substitute it in. So y is equal to 4 times 5 squared, okay? Now it's important to remember our BIDMAS rules and to do the 5 squared first. So that is the same as doing 4 times 25. And 4 25s give me 100. So in here, y is 100. Okay, and similarly then, we use the information on the second part here to find the missing value of x. We need to use y equal to 16. Okay, so we substitute y equals to 16 in. So it'll be 16 equals 4x squared. Now I divide through by 4. So it gives me 4 is equal to x squared. And then I need to square root 4 to find x. Okay. So square root of 4 is 2. So x is equal to 2. All right. And then that helps me complete my table. Okay. The third section then is about factorizing and being able to solve a quadratic. Okay. One of the key things with this, okay, it's an A grade topic, is that we've dealt with these before with just the x squared, where we use 2 brackets, okay, because there's no common factors, and there's no common factors for this one either. So I'm going to need to factorize using 2 brackets. Now, the only way I can make 2x squared is by multiplying 2x by x. So there's my starting point for this question. Now, if I look at my product here, it means I'm multiplying 2 numbers together to make 3, positive 3. So I'm either multiplying 2 positive numbers together, or I'm multiplying 2 negatives together. Now, how do I know whether they're 2 positives or 2 negatives? Well, I come to my middle term here, which is positive. Look, it's plus 7x. Okay, so that's positive. So it means I'm going to be needing 2 positive numbers here. Now, 2 numbers that multiply together to make 3 are 1 and 3. Okay, so I've got 2x and x in my brackets. I can use 1 and 3. Now, if I multiply 2x and 1 together, it gives me 2x. And if I multiply x with 3 together, it gives me 3x. Now, if I add them together, it only gives me 5x, look. Okay, well, that's not what I want. I want 7x. So if I go back to my 2x and x in the brackets and swap the 3 and the 1 over, okay? Okay, so I used the 1 with the 2x and the 3 with the x there, but I swapped it over, so I'm using the 3 with the 2x here. If I multiply them together, it gives me 6x. If I multiply x with 1, it gives me x. Now, if I add these together, 6x and x, it gives me 7x. Well, that's what I want. It says plus 7x in the middle. So because I'm multiplying 2x by the 3, it means I need the 3 in the opposite bracket, look. Okay, so I'm going to multiply the 2x by that 3, and then the 1 goes in the left-hand bracket here. We know they're both positive because we worked that out at the beginning. Okay, so this term factorizes 2x plus 1 and x plus 3. Okay, For a non-calculated maths paper, okay, you wouldn't be expected to use the quadratic formula to solve this. You would be expected to factorize the quadratic term on the left-hand side here first, okay? So to make my 5x squared, I know that I'm going to need 5x in the first bracket and x in the second bracket, okay? Now I'm going to ignore the equals naught for now because I'm going to concentrate on the factorizing, okay? So I've got a negative product here. In order to get minus 2, I either do 1 times minus 2 or I do minus 1 times positive 2, okay? So there's my options for my factors, okay? Now we've got to remember that one of those factors is going to be multiplied by 5x and one of them is going to be multiplied by x. So if I go for the 1 and the minus 2 first from the top one here, okay? And I multiply them together. So if I multiply these two together, it gives me 5x. And if I multiply these two together, it gives me minus 2x. Now if I add these together, 5 add minus 2x, it gives me 3x, okay? So in this case, okay, it doesn't give me the 9x, all right? Now, I could try it the other way around with the 1 and the minus 2, look, okay? So I'm still on the top version of using a 1 and minus 2, so I swapped them over like I did on the first question, okay? But there's two options, all right? So if I multiply these together, that gives me minus 10x. If I multiply these together, it gives me x. If I add these together, it gives me minus 9x, okay? Well, I don't want minus 9x, I want positive 9x. So I can't use the top two numbers as my factors. So I'm going to look at my minus 1 and 2. Now, because I know that I got minus 10x, if I use the positive 2 here, okay, and I use the negative 1 with the x, okay, and I multiply these together, I get 10x, and over here I get minus x. If I add 10x and minus x, it gives me 9x, positive 9x, and that's the one I wanted, okay, so I'm going to use these ones. So 5x times 2, so the 2 needs to go in there, and that's positive. And the x needs to be multiplied by minus 1, so that goes in there. Okay, so there's how I factorize that one. Now I could check it by expanding it out using FOIL or a box method to make sure I get back to the original. So that's the factorizing part of this question done, but I'm also being asked to solve it. So if I multiply two brackets together or two numbers together to get an answer of naught, one of the numbers or both has to be equal to naught. So this is where we just finish it off by saying either this first bracket, which contains 5x take away 1 equals 0, or the second bracket, which contains x plus 2 in, that must be equal to 0. Okay. Now on this right-hand one here, okay, now what do I add 2 to get 0? Well, it's minus 2. So one of my solutions for this question is that x could be equal to minus 2. And on the right-hand side here, I've got a two-step equation. So first of all, I need to add 1 to both sides. So 5x will equal 1. And then I need to divide through by 5. So x will equal 1/5. So my two solutions to this quadratic equation is x equals 1/5 or x equals minus 2. Section 4 then brings us to surd calculations again. Okay, so different ways of simplifying surds. Okay, so we're going to see the root of a number in the question. Okay, in this question, we're being asked to expand and simplify 4 plus root 3 all squared. So the first thing to do is, like one of the questions on the earlier sections, is to write down that means I'm going to multiply 4 plus root 3 by itself. Okay, so I've got a double bracket. So again, I can use a box method or I can use a FOIL to expand this bracket. Okay, so I'm going to use FOIL. So here's my first term in each bracket. 4 times 4, that's 16. My outside term is multiplying 4 by this positive root 3. So I can write that as 4 root 3. Then my inside term now. So I'm going to be multiplying these two terms together. That also gives me 4 root 3. And finally, I multiply root 3 by root 3. Okay, so If you remember, when you multiply two roots together, you multiply the numbers in the roots, okay, to get a new root. So 3 times 3 is 9. So that's equal to the square root of 9. And we know the square root of 9 is 3. So that's going to be plus 3 for the last term, okay? So just a reminder that if the same number is in the root, you don't have to do it, okay? So for example, root 5 times root 5 is just 5, okay? So ignoring that though for this question, I can now do my simplifying. So I collect together my integer terms, which is this 16 plus 3, okay? It's that one plus the 3. So that gives me 19. And then I add together my terms that contain root 3. So I've got 4 root 3 plus another 4 root 3. Altogether, 4 plus 4 gives me 8. So I've got 8 root 3. And that is my final simplified answer because I can't add those two terms together. Okay. So this one is also a double bracket. Okay, so again, I'm going to use my file expression to expand it. You can use a box method if you prefer. Okay, the two brackets don't contain the same terms, so I just need to multiply through using file. So the first term is 2 times 5, which gives me 10. The outside term is 2 times minus root 2. So that's going to be minus 2 root 2. Then my inside term, so I need to multiply 5 by 3 root 2. So 5 times 3 is 15. That's 15 root 2. And finally then, my last term is 3 root 2 multiplied by negative root 2. Okay, well, first thing to note is that the answer is going to be negative because only one of them is negative. Okay, and then if you remember, root 2 times root 2 is the same as 2. That means I'm just working out 3 times 2. Okay, and that gives me 6. So here it's take away 6. And again, like the previous question, collect together all your numbers. So 10 take away 6 gives me 4. Okay, and then collect together all your root 2s. So you're starting at minus 2 root 2. So you're starting at minus 2 on your number line, and you add in 15 to it. So if you do minus 2, add 15, gives you positive 13. So here it's add 13 root 2. Okay, and that's your simplified answer for that question. Right, probability is all about understanding the question. Okay, so in a bag there are 7 red counters, 4 blue counters and 1 green counter. So hopefully we can work out that there are 12 counters in this bag in total to start with. A counter is taken but not replaced, then this keeps being repeated. Okay, so we were being asked to calculate the probability that the first 2 counters are the same color. So the first 2 counters could be a red and a red, or it could be a blue and a blue, but they can't be a green and a green. Once you pick a green out, there's no greens left. Okay, so there's only 2 options for this, and that's to work out the probability of getting 2 reds and the probability of getting 2 blues, and then all in probability means we're going to add them together. So the probability then of getting 2 reds, okay, well, the probability of the first counter being red is 7 out of 12. Don't forget, the counter, once it's been picked out, has not been replaced. So once you've taken out 1 red, there's only 11 counters left for the second one, okay? And when you pick out the second counter and it's red, there'll only be 6 reds in there, okay? So when you do this type of probability where you select one and then another, okay, the AND rule is to multiply the 2 probabilities together. So just multiply through the fractions. So 7 6s are 42, and 12 times 11 is 132. Okay, so that's the probability of getting 2 reds. So let's work out now the probability that we could have got 2 blue counters. So there's 4 blue counters to start with. So the probability of the first counter being blue is 4/11. There's then only 3 blue counters left. So when you pick the second counter out, There's only 11 counters in there and only 3 of them are blue. So we multiply these two probabilities together. 4 times 3 is 12. Again, 12 times 11 is 132. Now, to get the probability that they're the same color, we add these two together. Okay, so the probability that they're the same color is just adding together 42 over 132 plus 12 over 132. So when you're adding fractions, the denominators need to be the same, which they are. So add the numerators together. 42 add 12 gives me 54. So my answer is 54 over 132. Now, you'll get full marks if you leave your answer as that, okay? It does simplify, and if you have done that, it simplifies to 9 over 22, okay? And finally then, okay, in this bag, again, we've got the same information. We're being asked to calculate the probability that the green counter is the third counter taken. So, there's two ways of thinking of this question. You can either pick a red and then a green, that's your third counter, or you could pick a blue and then a green, or you could pick a red, a blue and a green, or you could pick a blue, red and green. They are the 4 ways in which a green could occur on the third counter, okay? However, there's a much shorter way of doing it than that. So you could work out 4 separate probabilities and add them all together. But what we know is we don't want a green on the first one, so we don't want a green. Then we don't want a green on the second counter, but we do want a green with our third counter. So that will work out the above in one go for you, okay? So I'm going to do it this way. So the probability of not getting a green on the first counter is 11 out of 12, because you either pick a red, which is 7, or you pick a blue, which is 4, okay? So that counter's been taken out. Right, there's now 11 counters left in the bag, of which only 1 is a green. So when you pick the second counter, you don't want a green. So there'll be 10 counters that won't be green in the bag out of the 11 that are left. So now in the bag, you've got 10 counters left, of which 1 is green, okay? So the 1 green counter is in the bag, and the chances of choosing that is 1 out of 10, because there's 10 counters left in the bag. If we now multiply these probabilities together, so multiplying 11 by 10 by 1 gives me 110. And I already have worked out 12 times 11 is 132. So multiplying that by 10 is 1,320. I can simplify this down, and that leaves me with a final fraction of 1 over 12. Okay? And that's the probability of getting a green on the third counter. All right, that's the easiest way of doing it. All right, thanks for listening to this video, and I hope it's really helped you. Stay safe.